So tonight we're going to be we're going to be discussing a very fun and interesting topic. And there's actually several subjects here, but they all kind of are several different topics, and they all weave into each other. Montauk monsters, Plum Island, and hybrid mysteries. As I said, these all weave into each other. I will show you here in a little bit once we get started. A story came out over this past week, which really prompted me to want to do this show, and it'll make sense when you see it. And it's actually, I did a similar subject many years ago over on the scariest movie ever, because some of what we're looking into tonight is some of the creatures that are washing up on the beaches all around the world. There have been several strange ones, interesting ones. We'll take a look at some of that, but I did a video specifically on just that over on the scariest movie ever, like over 10 years ago. So I'm pretty sure, like, I did something on all the creatures washing up, I'm sure, and it was probably around the time the first so-called Montauk monster washed ashore. I say first because there's more, but otherwise, yeah. So hey, thank you for being here. I am KJ Osborne. This is KJ's What Happened YouTube channel, so you're in the right place in case you're wondering. Thanks for being here on a Friday night with me. I got a video coming up. It'll probably come up earlier this coming week, but it's almost done, so I have a new video coming. I had spent a couple days this week working on an AI short I was trying to do, and I've talked more about that on my Saturday shows, and I'll explain everything that happened with that because it was quite the process. So I spent a few days working on that, trying to get something done, but creating an AI short film isn't so easy. I found it's easy to make those short clips we see all the time, like a minute long clip or whatever. That'd be easy to do, but when you're trying to tell a story with the same characters and you interweave it all together, and it's going to take several minutes to tell the story, it's a whole different process. Anyway, so I'll talk more about that tomorrow. Of course, we got KJ's What Happened tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Standard, my main show, so I hope you can make it. And other than that, yeah, new video coming up this week, uncensored show on Monday, and I'll post something. Oh, in fact, I'm going to go and call it now. A week from tonight, just so y'all can have time to prepare, a week from tonight, I'm going to do another call-in show. So next Friday, we'll do another Where Is Your Mind call-in show. I've had multiple people asking to do one again, and I've been wanting to do one anyway. I just did one a few weeks back. Some people have asked to do them on Wednesday or Thursday nights, so this week we'll do it on Friday, but I'm keeping that in mind, and then maybe next time I'll go ahead and just push for a Thursday night. We'll give it a shot and see what happens, okay? So there's that, and I think we're all caught up, man. I think we're all good. So, all right. Hey, and Tamara, thank you for being here, of course, my friend. Always, and just good to see everybody rolling in. Red Dark Side, Gina MH, Brand is here, WCMW Fab, always a pleasure. Chili Peen, what's up? Chino Man, Mr. 310, Timothy Wright, CJ Live, Lizetta, nice to see you. Share Bear, David Rife, Rachel Queen, we got some heavy hitters in here tonight. Swagger's here, PCKA. PCKA, Coulter. Nice to see you all. Sorry if I missed any names. Just kind of passing through there. See Yeshua Lawson's here. And all right, y'all. Let's go ahead and jump on in, man. Let's go ahead and get started. I always want to take a few minutes in the beginning and give people a little bit of time to come on in. So we got, what's about 3 minutes? We'll give it just a little bit longer. I'll give it like another minute. I can't even see how many people are here. Oh, there we go. All right, we got people coming in. How are you all? I'm over here in the live chat. Let me know. Hope you're doing good. How was your week? How's your life? Are you good? Are you keeping it together? Are you enjoying that peace that surpasses all understanding that's provided through the Holy Spirit? I hope so. I hope so. I certainly need it these days if you're paying attention. That's the problem, is there are a lot of people that just aren't paying attention, you know? So someone said I agree with the volume comment. Oh boy, let's see what we got going on here. How's the volume? Tamara, anybody let me know? I saw somebody commenting on volume. Yes, somebody just mentioned, yeah, I'm in Tornado Alley. That's where I live, basically. That's where I was born and raised. Thanks. Volume's great. I appreciate it. And we had tornadoes last night and yesterday that actually took the lives of two people, of a mother and her daughter, which was really sad to see. The girl was 13 years old. Thanks, Tamara. And so yeah, there's a lot of lives have been lost in this state because of tornadoes specifically. We get a lot of potential tonight. So yeah, please do pray for the state of Oklahoma, that people are safe tonight from any tornadoes. There aren't any tornadoes. There's a cool video came out, gosh, probably about 3 years ago. Some of y'all may have seen it. Somebody was just recording with their phone. A lot of times what we have to do out here in Tornado Alley, if you're on the highway, unfortunately, during a tornado, and you see, the tornado coming down or whatever, or you're in that proximity, go underneath, the overpasses, like go underneath the bridges and stuff like that, and they park their vehicles. That's usually what people do. It's like the only thing you can do. And there was one where too many people were under the bridge. Not everyone could get under it, so there was people kind of just sitting there. And there was a lady with her phone pointing, and you could see the tornado, man. It was spinning. You could see the spinner. You could see the twister. Massive. And she started praying, man, like with all her heart, just for that to go away in the Lord's name. And sure enough, it did. After a little bit, it was really incredible. So it was a good one. But yeah, it's been really nuts out here with the tornadoes. I think we've had the worst in history. Maybe is it in Oklahoma? If y'all could look it up. Yeah, I think we had the very worst one, at least in America. That's been recorded. I'm pretty sure. And that was some years back, too. So anyway, all right, y'all. Let's get down to business. We've gone on a few minutes. I want to let some people come in. People are coming in more and more. Good to see everybody. Let's go ahead and jump on into the stories tonight. Let's go ahead and do this. There we go. All right, so just as a starting point, I want to start here. Inside the mystery of the Montauk monster, in quotes, that washed ashore in Long Island. This is in the summer of 2008 is when this first one happened. Locals in the New York hamlet of Montauk were shaken by the discovery of a bloated and bloodless creature they couldn't identify. It was dubbed the Montauk Monster, and then it mysteriously vanished. So you guys might remember that thing. Look at that. It's so weird looking. It looks like, I don't know, just like, what could it be? It's very strange. A strange creature washed ashore in Long Island, New York, July 2008. Lying on the beach, passed away in Ditch Plains. News about the monster and theories about its origins quickly spread. Some speculated that it could be the mutant result of an experiment performed at the nearby Plum Island Animal Disease Center, while others suggested that it was an alien, or perhaps it was merely a bizarre hoax. So Plum Island, there's our first mention of it, connected to, hybrid-type creatures, diseased creatures. Maybe it's, some regular animal, but who knows what kind of experiments they ran on it. I don't know if that's what it is. Let's see here. It didn't take long for the director of the International Cryptozoology Museum, Lauren Coleman, who's largely credited with coming up with the name Montauk Monster, to launch an extensive investigation into the strange creature. Really, says to this very day, a series of chilling questions remain. What was the monster? Where did it come from? And were locals frightened into silence? And this article was written in 2023, so pretty much up to now, it's still an enduring mystery. We don't know exactly what it was. Investigating the Montauk Monster yields more questions than answers. Plum Island Lab. So let's check this out. Short clip here on Plum Island.
Less than 100 miles from New York City is Plum Island Lab. Here, the U.S. government conducts top-secret biological experiments. Most Americans are unaware of the facility, but it has been linked to an Al-Qaeda plot and an alarming past tied to Nazi scientists. Military technology expert John Gresham has been denied access to the island. Now he decides to view the lab from the air. Once airborne, it takes less than 2 minutes by helicopter to get from the tip of Long Island to Plum Island. Along the south side of the island are the abandoned ruins of the original lab run by the Nazi scientists. It now appears to be crumbling at the hands of the elements.
It's interesting how the government just abandons the things they don't really want, but the stuff they do want to take care of, they really take good care of.
Then they approach the main lab. There, John can see the measures that the government has taken to keep the facility secure.
Well, you can see how much they've expanded since 1950. It's a very large receiving and storage facility over here, which they're clearly using very actively.
John is left wondering if Plum Island is really the best place to keep a potentially dangerous facility. Back on the ground, John analyzes the video he shot.
This is a vulnerable island. It needs to be looked at and perhaps the facility moved.
The government does plan to move the bioresearch lab to a new facility that would be built in Kansas, but the plan has been stalled.
In so many ways, this is not a facility that folks in this densely populated part of America should be forced to live next to.
For now, Plum Island will remain open indefinitely.
All right, we're going to move on. I want to share a little clip. I think there's another one down here. Yeah, beach monster. I've already seen that. There it is again. Look at that. It's got a beak. It's got a beak. It's got really sharp teeth. It looks like horns. Or, yeah, like little white horns here. Or something. And then its fingers. Look at those fingers. There's both of the hands are together. But it looks like weirdly like human hands and human fingers. It's just a weird thing. And look at those muscles. And is that a goiter? I don't know what that is on its neck. Anyway, now all that being said, just as a starting point, this little guy right here wanted to jump over here. Guess what? Is the Montauk monster back, or did the ocean just deliver another mystery? A brand new sighting is making waves on March 1st. Making waves, get it? I see what you did there. On March 1st, 2026, a witness in Long Beach, California, came across a strange, unidentified creature that had washed up on the shore. Let's take a look at this thing.
The creature has washed up on shore. Back in 2020, we have a mysterious creature that washed up on the shores of Long Beach, California around March 1st, 2026. But here's the thing. This isn't the first time this unidentified creature has washed up on shores. Back in 2024, I shared a similar video from a witness in Long Island, New York, who captured the same type of creature that washed up on their shores. But it gets even weirder. Back in 2008, a similar creature washed up that they called the Montauk monster, and people assumed it came from Plum Island out in New York. So what is this thing? This is 3 times now that it's washed ashore. This may be the new species of something. Take a look at these next 2 videos, comment below, tell me what you think.
Looks like a dog in the back.
¿Será un nahual o qué? A ver, amigos, a ver
A perro.
qué tipo de animal sería este. No tiene aletas, tiene
Face looks weird. Look at that. It's like a
tiene pelo.
strange nose part weird. Looks weird. I mean, trust me, there's weirder ones than this. I'm going to show you some. Even the Montauk one's definitely a lot weirder. I don't know. It looks a lot like a dog, you know, to me. But almost with just something's different with the face, right? It's like, I don't know. but there's others.
Aquí estamos
That
en
look
las
similar.
playas de Long Beach.
Let's see. Here's the other one, back in 2024.
What the fuck is that?
Another one. It's not, doesn't totally look like a dog, you know. That looks like it has black fur on the back, or unless that's something from the ocean stuck to it. Doesn't it? Looks like it's got, or is that just a bunch of seaweed? That might be it. But still, look, it's another rat dog thing, you know. It's kind of weird. The rat dogs. All right. So now moving on. Monster definitely not raccoon or opossum, writes expert. And this is from November 13th, 2012. Says, I looked through your site and was shocked by the number of people saying the creatures were deceased raccoons or opossums. And she's talking about, there's a bunch of these, right? So we're still on that, okay? Like these weird carcasses of these things that are washed up. I'll show you some of those in a second. I want to read some of this. She says, as a wildlife, I think it's a she. Yeah, Rebecca Alexis Turner. As a wildlife rehabber with Nuts for Squirrels Wildlife Rehabilitation located in Northeast Florida, First Coast region, I've cared for opossum and raccoon on numerous occasions and know for a fact that the washed-up creatures are not former raccoons or opossums. I was also a 3-year Environthon team member in both the Fred B. Miller and Florida State Envirothons. My school's team always placed first in our county and scored high in wildlife identification. This brings me to the reasons the creatures are not raccoons or opossums. Raccoons do not take on a beaked appearance when their skulls are bared, contrary to what has been posted in several places. The slight beak, the skull takes clearly displays the root mount for the teeth. This is not seen in and of the Montauk images or images of similar creatures. Also, the orbital ridge of a raccoon skull line up with the lower brain case to form a rounded dinner bell shape not seen in the bird eye view images of the Montauk skull. Lastly, the limbs of the Montauk creatures are too short to be raccoon. Raccoons have long limbs and leave them looking like they walk on stilts until the long belly fur of adulthood grows in. All right, so on she goes on about with opossums have few forward teeth, shorter second fang. Otters are ruled out for both as well. Plum Island may hold the key to the Montauk and its kin simply because it's an island. In the fossil record, islands and their limited genetic pool have given rise to rare creatures localized to those locations alone. Tasmanian wolf, tiger, for example. Galapagos finches and tortoises for another. And finally, an example, lemurs, fossa cats, and several other species from the island of Madagascar. And she says, I hope this helps you. So that's an interesting theory too, but the only difference is that Plum Island, you know, that's government stuff. That's the difference, big difference. Old lime monster taken away by men in unusual uniform. All right. Says it wasn't until sometime after I'd taken this photo that I'd realized what it was. I'd stumbled upon. This photo was taken in April 2009 in Old Lyme, Connecticut, I believe. Or no, wait, CT. I don't know. Is that Connecticut? Old Lyme, CT. I don't know what that is. I know the claims are that these things may be raccoons, but this one was enormous. The police had showed up to check out the site, and shortly after, there were men in an unusual uniform who came to take the specimen away. So sorry I can't make that any bigger, but another, as they say, mutated creature. Lloyd Neck, Long Island, another monster surfaces. There's a picture of it. Whoa, it's kind of weird looking. I'm always looking at the digits. That'd be a trip if we see one of these things with 6 fingers. Like, what? Now we know. That'd be a really good clue, wouldn't it? So here's one of them. I'm going to read the story here. Short story. Says it wasn't until sometime we just read that. It's this one. The most recent monster was found on a beach on northwestern Long Island in Lloyd Neck, New York. The monster was sighted by a local man walking his dog on the beach, and luckily he had his technology handy. So there's another picture of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I mean, it's, they look like, they just look like a mix of things, doesn't it? It looks like something we know, and then it's off. It's kind of like the new celebrity Ozempic faces, quote Ozempic faces. The change, let's say, changeover, or showing what's on the inside. It's coming out. I don't know how we've talked about that. Milford Beach throws up another Montauk beast. It's from November 7th, 2011. And look, it is another one. It does look a lot like the Montauk, doesn't it? It's got the same red skin. It's all gutted. Something got a hold of it. A couple were taking a peaceful walk on the beach at Milford, CT, when they came across this carcass of some sort of animal, which they sent us. And yeah, it totally looks like another one, another Montauk. Montreal's own Montauk monster sighted, posted June 9th, 2011. On April 20th this year, Alan Varley from St. Helens, Merseyside, England, UK, reported while in Canada visiting relatives, we were walking by Lac St. Louis in Beaconsfield on the outskirts of Montreal. We came across this passed away creature. Not knowing what it was, I searched the internet and came upon your website. And another weird thing. The back legs look weird. Look at that. It's all loopy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think. Oh, there's... Whoa. Look at that. Look at the face. It looks like... At first, I thought it looked like a dachshund. It looked like a little wiener dog face. Doesn't it look like a dachshund? And then now, it almost looks like a snake, which is kind of crazy. Side view. Okay, it's weird. Not sure. Another monster snapped on Northwest Long Island Beach. These are old school, too. These are from 2011, June 9th, 2011. On the morning of January 30th this year, Tricia Mamias of Locust Valley, New York, was walking on the beach in Bayville, New York, at the Connecticut end of Long Island with her husband and 2 dogs. She came across and snapped this extraordinary, ugly, passed-away animal. It was her son, Michael, an environmental scientist, who filled her in later about the Montauk monster. She checked out the Doomsday piece online, and lo and behold, it's the same thing, and in very good condition. There's no way this is a raccoon or any other kind of animal I've ever seen before. Look at that. It is in good condition. Look at that. It does look like another one. Just a weird mix of something. I can't quite figure that part out, but it's very strange. It's another one. All right. Beast spotted close to Montauk Point this spring. Sunday, February 20th this year, David Koritsky. It's a cool name, Koritsky. I like that. It kind of rolls. Be a good name for a hero in a movie. We better call Koritsky, A Mount Kisco glass specialist visiting from upstate New York took this picture of a Gryphon-esque beaked beast. What a word. At Hither Hills, a beach just southwest of Montauk Point. So see, they're all kind of around there. It's interesting. Whoa, look at those chompers. Wow, look at that. The size of that jawbone there. Beast snapped on a beach near Galveston, Texas. June 2011. On March 20th, student Jacob Trevino reported, me and a couple of friends traveled to stay on Galveston Island for spring break. We were driving along the beach listening to our friends tell us about this, quote, thing they saw while running along the beach earlier that morning. So we went to go see it. I saw it and had no clue what it was. It had a beak, webbed feet, and looked like some sort of ocean rat. It was washed up along the beach along with tons of jellyfish. I took photos only to realize that later on that I've seen this thing before on various website posts. I wish I got a few better photos of it. So, another weird thing. Look at the size of that tail. This thing. Jeepers. Thing's a little hog. Yeah, that tail. What is this next to it? I can't tell. Because it'd be a good reference of kind of how big it is. Is that a lighter right here? No, I don't know. Anyway, still, all right, weird, right? Found in Persepolis, an ancient image of the Montauk monster. This is a good one. In April, Perua Degani, an Iranian who lives in Shiraz, Shiraz, one of the most ancient cities in the world, sent us these pictures in April taken in Persepolis. Says, I think I saw the historical point of the Montauk monster. This is actually really cool. Look at that. That's a good catch, isn't it? From these people. Wow. Interesting. Totally looks like him. Or her. Or they, or them. I'm not sure. It's 2026, y'all. Catch up, right? Just kidding. All right, and I guess that's about it on this one. But I wanted to show you all the various examples from this from actual website called montaukmonster.com. So, well done, people. So now that being shown, like I said, there's different kind of segments that all kind of mix in together here. I guess what we'll do is let's go to some of the things that are being found first. Oops. Let's bring that down. This one was really popular. This is from 8 years ago, and made the news. It was a big deal, from a long time ago, because no one had ever seen anything quite like this. Now, there's always the possibilities. Of course, it could be something like a bloated animal, a bloated whale. People say whale blubber. I had somebody trolling me on my ex account saying all this stuff is whale blubber. That's like, I get it, man. Like, a lot of people say that. But, again, Montauk Monster's not whale blubber. You know what I mean? But some of these things could be something like that. There could be a rational explanation, of course. But that's why I found, I think, some of the most interesting. But this thing, the reason it was so weird for people is it was covered with hair. This is a massive thing, whatever it is, and it was covered with hair. Just so weird.
Ikan besar yang terdampar di pantai Masiba. Diperkirakan panjangnya sekitar berapa meter ini kira-kira, Dewa? Tahu, 100 kasar. Oh, lewat sekitar 30 meter dengan lebar.
Look how big that is. Look at the people over there walking around.
Sekitar 5 bahkan 6 meter. Ikan besar ini sudah membusuk di pantai Masiba.
There have been a few of these things that are found that are covered with hair from the ocean, which is weird. It's hair. There's other English versions that that are out there that explain it. Yeah.
Ikan ini sudah mulai membusuk.
Is that its
Mungkin
eye
bukan
socket?
Sudah mati dan terdampar sampai di pantai Masiba.
Look how big that is. That can't be no elephant. And where's the tusks? Well, they may have stolen them. Like, what's that? Coming out of its mouth or whatever. It's got some red fluid dripping down here. What is that? Some people think that's an elephant. I don't know, man. I don't think so. Look at it. It's got ridges up here. See? There's a lot of things happening here. It's got ridges, hair. See all the hair around the, I guess is that a nose? Is that an eye? I don't know. I guess that's the eye there. But no, I don't think it's, personally, again, we can always agree to disagree. I don't think it's an elephant. I don't think it's a whale. You know, look, it looks like it's got like reptilian ridges here or something on it. So I don't know. But anyway, it is a good one for discussion. So moving on. It's a crazy one. Here's another one. Strange Pukina sea creature from 12 years ago. That was in the sea. Look at that. What is that? Maybe it's a sea dragon. Yeah, sea dragon. Dang. Looney Bin's busy tonight out there. Look at that. So it looks like a gator right there, but then that. Get ready, Chubs. Oh, they're coming close. Yes. All right, we made it. But man, they're busy tonight. But look at that. That's pretty wild. What do you guys think that could be? Some kind of a sea dragon beast. Look at those chompers. Look at those teeth. It'd be kind of cool to have one. Look at that. But then again, there's the danger of, you know, you don't want to take stuff like that and take it home with you. You don't know. You just don't know. It's a whole demonic realm in the deep seas, you know? So you wouldn't want to take it home with you. But look at that. They're really pretty. Look at those teeth. Got a really interesting color. They're yellow, brown, and black stripes on them or something. Yeah, it does look prehistoric. All right, interesting. There you go. Interesting one, I think. Moving on. This one is from 9 years ago.
Of the hairy blob-like monster which
Here we go, hairy. I think this is the one we were just looking at. So here's an explanation. The big hairy one, I mean.
The mystery of the hairy blob-like monster which mysteriously washed up on the Philippines has been solved. Gobsmacked locals rushed to take selfies with the 20-foot creature after it appeared on a beach in Cagdianao, the Dinagat Islands this week. The pictures swiftly went viral, capturing the world's imagination. Some speculated it was a sea cow, or a dugong. Others said it looked suspiciously like an Old English sheepdog. But after an investigation on Thursday, Filipino officials revealed it is the carcass of a whale, weighing approximately 2,000 kilos. It's believed to have turned white due to decomposition. The animal is thought to have died approximately 2 weeks ago. Locals initially feared it had beached itself following an 6.5 earthquake, which killed 6 on Sunday. But scientists said it was likely hit by a ship, the crack team, but is uncertain as to what.
So what do you think about the official explanation? You think that's just a whale carcass? I don't know, man. That looks like a lot of hair to me. But
6.3 meters.
But yeah, thing's big. Whatever it is, that's a whale, they're saying. Now, you know, I don't always trust the official story either. But there you go. You decide. It's from 9 years ago. Is it just a whale carcass that just turned white? I've seen whales even in real life. I was in Maui for a couple of years. It was pretty cool because We had little small boats we took out all the time, and we could see all kinds of cool wildlife out there. But I don't know. You decide. You decide. All right. Here's, I think we'll move on from that. It's another one with the hairy blob from National Geographic. Yeah, that one really got around, but it's just a whale carcass, I guess. Rare 30-foot Doomsday fish. Here's another one that's really been popping up here lately. The oarfish, OAR fish. I don't know if you guys have heard that those are considered the Doomsday fish, and I'll read some of the article here. Rare 30-foot Doomsday fish sighting by U.S. tourists spark ancient fears of imminent disaster. And this was just posted today. And what's interesting is some of the clips that I was pulling up, one in particular has it has an interesting situation with oarfish in it. And that got me looking for oarfish. And then I realized, whoa, so these Doomsday fish have popped up a few times over the last year. 2025, 2024. A pair of American tourists had a 1 in a billion chance encounter with a rare sea creature said to be a sign of imminent disaster. Monica Pittenger and her sister Katie were on a beach in Mexico's Cabo San Lucas last month when they spotted 2 massive oarfish washing ashore to the shock of everyone in the area. Oarfish, also known as sea serpents, which is really interesting, have been referred to in Japanese folklore as doomsday fish because they're said to be the messengers from the sea god's palace. You know who the sea god is? Well, the god of this realm, I mean. You already get it. The ancient belief cautions that when a doomsday fish washes ashore, it's a warning sign of impending cataclysms such as deadly quakes or tsunamis. The tsunami thing's interesting because there's a connection. If you follow me for a while, you know there's a connection with those tsunamis with New York City, Babylon. You know what I mean? Seeing 2 oarfish at the same time is considered almost unheard of because the species live at deep ocean, typically at depths greater than 3,000 feet in the so-called twilight zone, they call it. One of the least explored parts of the planet. This is such a cool clip. So this is the recent one, all right? In fact, a 2018 study published in the Bulletin of the Southern California Academy of Sciences had found that there were only 19 oarfish strandings or sightings along the California coast over the last century. Both of the roughly 30-foot-long creatures, and they're beautiful, you'll see, Pittenger and her sister saw were still alive and flapped like a long, shimmering ribbon on the sandy shore. Man, wait till you see this. No, that's not it. Oh, come on. I've got a, where is it? They'll have some kind of a link. Let me find it. Come on, y'all. There's her YouTube channel. Maybe it's over here. Oh, there it is. All right.
I didn't believe my eyes. It was something out of like a fiction movie. I have never seen.
See, I don't know. This one, see, when I play clips, I always have to be careful just because, you know, sometimes they get strikes on them. I have to remove them. That's why watching live's always the best. On that note, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate all of y'all. But let me see. I might want to play this one a little bit safe. So what I'm going to do, this is usually the way to do that. Let's just run over here. And do that. And then we do this. All right, let's check it out. Remember how rare it is to see 2 of these doomsday fish.
I didn't believe my eyes. It was something out of like a fiction movie. I had never seen anything like it before, and I just remember thinking, like, is this real? And honestly, when I saw the second one, I got a little nervous. I'm like, what's going on that there's 2? It was in Cabo. We saw something in the distance. It was flashing, and it was really bright. And when we saw them up close, it was like nothing we've seen before, so we were like, this can't be real. My sister, she just cannot stand anything in pain. She reacted super fast. There was a little girl with her that reacted super fast too. Just watching like all these men standing around, and she throws me her phone and her drink in her bag. She's like, hold this, and she's just diving on in. I think a lot of people were very hesitant because nobody really knew what it was. It's not every day you see that. And I mean, I don't blame them. I was yelling at her, just wait, let me check what it is. As soon as she saw that it was dying, she was like, I didn't care, and she started pushing it back in with the people on the side of the beach. As we're walking back, we see another one, and we see the other one trying to get back, and we're like, what's happening? Like,
think of the implication of the message.
She ended up getting it pushed back in, and both of them ended up swimming off. We just kind of kept watching to see if it would do it again, and then they both disappeared. They both ended up swimming away. We kind of sit down, and we're like, what was that? And we kind of get out our phones and start reading about it. Well, and then when we realized how rare it was a pretty cool experience, but very surreal. From what we've researched, to see two is like 1 in a billion chance. Along that coast, the sightings over the last few hundred years.
Said 1 in a billion chance.
Rare it was a pretty cool experience, but very surreal. From what we've researched, to see two is like 1 in a billion chance. Along that coast, the sightings over the last few hundred years only been about like 20 or something like that. Apparently, they're doomsday fish, and they only surface when earthquakes or tsunamis or whatever.
Look how big that is. Just, they're beautiful, man. Those are really just beautiful fish. Beautiful creation from our Father right there. There we go. Let's get closer to it. Wow, look at those. Just amazing, aren't they? You can see it. Look at that. It's like you can see its fins moving. It's moving.
Real.
All right, cool. So, interesting message though, right? I'd say. But remember, of course, there's no fear when you're in Christ. And please accept that free gift of salvation, my friend. ASAP. Is this one we saw? Nope, it's a different one. Mysterious 32-foot sea creature washes up on beach from 2017. Beachgoers at Mason City, or Mason, M-A-A-S-I-N, Mason City, on the island of Leyte in the Philippines were recently left stunned when they saw the corpse of a mysterious sea creature washing ashore. Daily Mail reports that according to Julius Alpino from the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, the corpse could not be identified as it was already decomposing. However, he added that there was a chance that the creature, which was reportedly as big as a fighter jet, could have been a whale. A local man shared pictures of the strange sea creature on Facebook on September 21st, where they quickly went viral with over 5,000 shares. Look at this thing. It's another just massive creature. Can't click that. I wish I could. He says, I was just passing by the beach and took some photos. I was surprised because it's too big, and it's the first time I saw that kind of a creature. The creature was already dead when I saw it. The smell was too bad. I can't describe it, but it was a bad smell. Also, you always keep in mind, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but the mysteries of the sea, right? And that's one I need to do a video on sometime, but, there's a lot of interesting theories and ideas that that's the gateway to hell, is like at the bottom of the ocean, and that's why you can't get all the way down there, and that's why the deeper they go, they find weirder creatures, stranger things, maybe. And then there's quakes, things like that, tsunamis shake this stuff up. Sometimes these things come to the surface. Theories, ideas. I'm not saying that's what it is, but it's interesting to think about. And there's a lot of other reasons why people think there's a gateway there. The sirens and so much more. And you guys know this is a lot of, there's marine spirits. There's the ancient gods of the sea. There's so much. Like I said, that'd be a cool video. I have so many little folders on my computers of just ideas, and I get clips of things throughout the week. Even if I'm not working on that video yet, I'll put it together with something I already have on it. That's how I've been working forever, so I'll come up with something. But enough about me. Let's get back to the monsters. All right, so there you go. There's that. Look at that. There's the boat, little rowboat, and just in comparison, you can see why they're saying it's the size of a fighter jet. We're just seeing just a little bit of it out of the water. So interesting one, I'd say. Strange sea creature washes up on beach from March 11th, 2016. And the video's not playing. So it looks like there's some here. Some clips or some links. Guess not. Maybe I'll do that then. Uh-oh. Okay, I think we got it. Yeah. Pyramid and Sun. Got it. No music. Let's look at this thing. What the... When you see these, it's like hard to tell kind of which end is up, you know? There's some kind of sludge on it, I guess he's pointing out. Looks like, are those long tentacles? Yeah, look at that. It's a tentacle. So is this just a big, huge dead squid? Or is it something else with tentacles? Or a mix? You know? I don't know, a mix. Try to see the head then. Maybe that'll help. Trying to give us a close-up. Yeah, there you go. Probably, right? Well then, is that the head, or it looks like it's another tentacle? So I don't know. I guess it's hard to say which way is up. But, and all the responses are in Spanish, so unfortunately, I wanted to kind of read what people were saying. Here's another one. Mysterious creature washes up on beach. Netizens guess what it is. Sure I got on that, but another one that people couldn't figure out. They called it horrifying and strange. Then you got this one. This is a really interesting one. It looks a lot like, a little Loch Ness monster type thing. And there certainly are, like, water dragons, water beasts, I don't know exactly which you want to call them. I did the video on the one, like the water dragon. What do they call him? I can't remember the nickname of him. But there's this one. And let's go ahead and check some of this out. I didn't remember this being so long. Oh, okay. Let's check some of this out. What the... Here we go.
This is a strange picture of...
Oh, that's why. It's like a compilation. I've got other clips on that thing, so we'll get to that in a little bit. It says, what is this mysterious sea creature? Another one, bizarre gray blob washes up on a beach, leaving the internet baffled. It's from 2017. There's that. What the? Images of the slimy dead fish were posted online with debate amongst social media users trying to figure out what it is. It's kind of weird. What is that? Look at that. First, it looks like an owl, like a really long, tall owl. Almost looks like a dude wearing like all white and like a fur overcoat thing, white beard, black shades. See the white hair coming down on the sides? Kind of like, Santa Claus's much cooler, slightly younger brother, that no one ever talks about. Or at least he thinks he's really cool. I'm not saying that's exactly cool or that's the cool look, but you see what I mean? All right, so there we go. Move on. North Wales. North Wales has one. Huge sea creature washes up on Welsh beach as locals left stunned. Again, a lot of these there's never an official explanation. It always goes down to whales. It's a whale. It's a whale blubber, whatever. And that's just the easiest answer. That's why we know there's evidence of other weird things washing up on the beach around the world. So that's why, you know, I'd rather not accept that all of these are just whales. You know what I mean? Huge sea creature washes up on Welsh. Some Daily Post. If it's still up, yeah, there we go. Cool. View image. All right. So there's that. Sizable carcass caught the attention of locals and visitors. Expected the marine experts will examine. All right, there we go. Move on. Scientists identify mysterious sea creature washed up in Indonesia. There's that. That's the one we saw earlier, right? Let's see what they said. Oh, here it is. They say that it's likely a whale. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Right, so I don't know. Maybe a whale with white hair all over it. Mysterious alien creature washes up on shore, confusing onlookers, from 2022. Mysterious creature is washed up on a beach in Australia, confusing onlookers who described it as an alien-like creature. Look at that, man. So we got another one of these, kind of a Montaukish, and this is in Australia. Strange head, weird puffy body. That's an oarfish. Is that what they call it? Not an oarfish. It's a... Oh, yeah, I thought it was... from the anglerfish family. This is a Pacific footballish. I've never heard of that before. They call this a Pacific footballish. That looks like the thing of nightmares. Man, you could really scare some people with that. Has an alien corpse been found in Russia? Scientists baffled by discovery of tiny creature with mysterious skull, no neck, and wings, found near a nuclear power plant. This is from 2015. With its distended skull, elongated body, and talon-like feet, it looks like something straight out of a sci-fi film. The reported discovery of this tiny alien body in Russia is said to have stumped scientists who are struggling to identify what it is. Local media claim it was found by 2 residents next to the river Kavashi in the Russian town of Sosnovy Bor, which was built in the 50s to serve Leningrad nuclear power plant. So there you go. They say there's a video. Let me see. I said scroll down for the video. That wasn't cool. Take a look at it. It's strange, isn't it? Look at that. I guess that's his arm. Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that thing. Some say it's a mutant chicken embryo. Maybe. With one saying, it seems that this body is neither fish nor fowl. Indeed. All right, moving on. Strange creatures near the water. Experts puzzled by mysterious sea creature washed ashore in Russia. Look at this. Looks like it has a massive beak, doesn't it? Look at this. Look how long the neck is. It's got those ridges on the back of its neck, like, you know, like a dragon would have, doesn't it? Are those ridges right there, or are those rocks in the background? Maybe that's what it is. Might be rocks in the background mixing in with the color. So forgive me on that if I'm wrong. But what are these white things here extending from it? You know? What is this? Feathers or bones? Looks like a beak. Doesn't it? Looks like a big duck head to me. A big duck head with the beak. Or is it a dragon? I don't know. But the teeth don't seem too sharp, or they don't really stand out as much. I don't know, but there you go. And scientists say that it's a whale. Here's a really weird one also. This is from our friend Hidden Underbelly 2.0. Awesome dude, awesome friend, cool channel. It comes by our live shows sometimes. It's always a pleasure. Interesting. Not sure what it is. But thank you, Hidden Underbelly 2.0. Moving on. I think what we're going to do is... Now I'm going to jump back a little bit, and we're going to jump back. We'll go back and forth a little bit. We want to kind of move around some. So let's go back over here, because we've seen enough of the creatures for now. There's still some more. But let's jump back around over here. I wanted to check this out. I believe this, yeah. So let's start here. If you didn't know, so there's some really interesting connections between Montauk and Stranger Things, and I'm sure others have pointed some of these things out throughout the years, but so something strange happened in Hollywood. The Duffer Brothers, who make Stranger Things, pitched a show called Montauk, so they knew exactly what was going on. So originally the show was pitched as Montauk, a sci-fi horror based on a boy's disappearance in a government mind control experiment. Netflix renamed it Stranger Things. In early drafts, Eleven's name was originally Montauk. The town was based on Camp Hero, and the villain, a manifestation of psychic trauma. Sound familiar? To this day, Camp Hero is fenced off, guarded. Unexplained energy spikes still happen there, and the locals, they still hear things at night. And that looks like right out of Stranger Things, but that's a real thing. Is it all a lie or a clever hoax, or did Stranger Things reveal a truth we weren't meant to see? This lady's interesting. Darshak Rana. All right, so first things first. 111. Let's go 111. All right, cool. So now we'll move on from that, and we got some clips. The man's name is Preston B. Nichols, and he's, speaking of like Montauk Project, he's definitely one of interest here. Says the U.S. government denied everything until a man named Preston Nichols came forward. He claimed he worked at the base, and what he revealed sounded like science fiction. So here's a little bit from him.
I personally believe that Montauk was most likely a test bed for some of the technology interchange between aliens and the U.S. government. Mm-hmm. That they were trying out a lot of these great ideas they got. They're also trying to replicate systems and technologies they had on the captured crashed UFOs. Also, I can remember I had an office in the radar tower. It was the first office on the second floor in the back. Mm-hmm. Next to my office was another office, and I remember, I'll swear on a stack of Bibles, I remember a lizard man in that office. It was His Highness Draco something. I can't remember the other name. And he was about 6 foot, 7 foot tall, had sort of like scaly skin, humanoid. He walked erect like we do. He had 2 arms, 2 legs. He had a tail, but it really didn't show most of the time. He had somewhat of a humanoid face, strange eyes, a big mouth, and, you know, looked like what you would expect if you're going to put together a lizard man. There was a being on Star Trek called the Gorn that Captain Kirk fought on this planet. This man that I worked next to sort of resembled that being. Now,
how did that strike you?
I didn't
that would
have that
have to be a traumatic experience. No, not to you.
I didn't have that much to do with it. I call it it. I'm not sure whether it was he or she, but I didn't have that much to do with it.
But you accepted his presence as something normal for...
What else do you do? You're working next to this thing.
True.
You know, how are you? Hi, you know, that sort of thing.
Going for coffee and donuts?
He spoke in a hissy voice, you know, hissed a lot. And sort of sounded like he was loud whispering most of the time. And then the other thing that we ran across, I needed some sodium hydroxide for a special soldering project. Of course, we all know Drano is essentially sodium hydroxide. So I went to the commissary, got a can of Drano. So I took a glass, put some water in it, dissolved the Drano in it. I was using this as flux of solid wood. His Highness Draco comes in. Oh, no. And he said, more! So I got another glass of water, poured some more Draco in it, handed it to him. and the Draco was getting drunk on Draco. How the hell they could stomach that stuff, I don't know. So finally, He really tied a rag on.
Doing it out of leather.
He really tied on a rag. He must have drank about 8 glasses of water made of the heavy, thick Drano. I put enough in so it was thick, because I was using a solder paste. And gulp. And finally, he came back to normal sense. He asked me, how do you make that stuff? That's the greatest stuff he'd ever had. So I told him, go get some Drano. And they had to keep buying more and more Drano. Because the reptilians are getting drunk on the Drano.
Were they involved in the project then, directly?
I think they were there more as advisors.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I think they were there as advisors.
Like the fallen angels, right?
Were they there
advising how to hybrid
will.
creatures?
It seemed to be.
Yeah.
Because they were treated well by the station management.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was almost like, Your Highness, how are you? They were kowtowing.
Yeah, so he's a really cool and interesting rabbit hole, and I knew that he'd be a good one for tonight's show. And I've got other clips, too, from him, so we'll move on for now. Thanks again for being here, y'all. We're an hour in, so yeah, thank you so much. Already got an awesome crowd, like 470-something. You guys, thank you. For real. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for sharing your Friday night with me and all the rest. Wonderful chat crew always, so thanks for being here. Always feel free to jump in chat if you never have. I always throw out the idea, too, if you need prayers, man, for real, this is a good place. It's not a church or anything like that, and I'm not a preacher, pastor, prophet, or priest or anything, but we love each other in Christ. That's what's most important, and we're here for each other as brothers and sisters, and we're here for you, so if you have any needs or anything, let us know, okay? Please. So thanks again for being here. Shout out to all my members here. Shout out to my Rumble Wells, and please follow on Subscribestar. Best place to follow me. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. Let's move on. Nichols says the government sought remote viewing abilities, so here he's having a little bit of an interview, and he's getting into some more subjects. Remember, this man, stuff he's talking about is what he's going through Montauk. He's seen behind the scenes.
In a parallel way, so that people can actually have parallel lifetimes going on.
Well, time is essentially like
their audio's low.
Real estate. In other words, as you and I can walk through real estate from point A to point B, all time coexists, and it's possible to go from point A to point B if you can find the path to go directly from. Some people believe it's taking the linear timeline, bending it over next to each other, and creating a wormhole or a punch-through from time A to time B.
And so, when you're existing you're at the same time, literally, like, you can fold it over and wow, here I am. At that. What about creating alternate paths then? Are we doing that with our lives because of that ability for time to sort of warp or fold over on itself?
Some of us are doing multiple timelines if we have the capability of going from, let's say, today to 2 weeks ago and working the whole 2 weeks over again. What will happen is the first pass will become an alternate reality, since you cannot have a time paradox, which is where you and you exist, two of you at the same time. That cannot be. So one of the passes, typically the first pass, will become an alternate reality, an alternate timeline.
Now, what did they do, though, with Al when they allowed him to grow up the same time he was already in the Navy?
Well, Al's story is a little bit different.
Here's the calling number.
They allowed Al to go through and have his whole life from 1916 to 1943. Actually, I think it's 1947. Then they reportedly had the capability of regressing Al back physically to a baby, and then sent him through a time portal and inserted him in another family, and he grew up all over again. There were two Al Bieliks. One is Edward Cameron and one is Al Bielek. And even if they meet, there's going to be no terrible things happening. Because of the fact that there was a step back in time means he is meant to coexist two places in one time. I did the same thing at Montauk.
Oh, here we go.
I was working at BJ's at the same means he is meant to coexist two places in one time. I did the same thing. At Montauk, I was working at BJ's. At the same time, I was working at AIO.
Well, did you get 2 paychecks? Did you get to enjoy all that abundance? No. Oh, that's a shame.
All right, I'm going to go move on. So I tried to get the parts where he's talking about his Montauk, and all of it is pretty much. He says he claimed one boy stood out, a child named Duncan. He could read minds, bend objects, even project thoughts into reality. That's incredible, right? If you believe. And then where does it come from, right? What's the whole history on that? It's interesting. From the good, from the bad, right? Nichols and Duncan once imagined a, quote, monster, and it materialized, just like in Stranger Things. Crazy, right? The project grew unstable. Nichols claimed they lost control of Duncan's mind. And this is why it was really designed, this lady has to say. See if you agree.
Was fully developing, being able to operate in full potential of your brain. Say we only use 10% of our brain.
Yeah.
High level developing psychic gifts like remote viewing and psychic assassination and telekinesis and pyrokinesis and teleportation, all being able to use the mind to do all that. And then you had Looking Glass, which was a device that they believe came from alien technology. But then also a big part of Montauk is creating wormholes for traveling to Mars. I know that's crazy. But all of this is crazy. But then when you see story after story after story of time travel from here to there instantaneously, time travel, several reports of children being sent back to the time of Jesus, and they couldn't kill them. They were assassins, and they fell in love with them. Ultimately, there's two.
Whoa, see, that's really, again, wild stuff. But I always want to find out more about these people when they put those kind of claims out there. And just hear, Stuart Swerdlow's first-hand testimony on how little ones were used in the Montauk project. Yeah, this is Stuart Swerdlow, quite the character, man. He's got a following. He's got a loyal following. He's been around for years, as far as I know. I know that at one point I think they got booted off YouTube, but I looked it up and he's back on YouTube, but I didn't go to the channel, so I don't know if he's uploading anything here anymore. They get into some pretty edgy stuff. Him and his wife had a show they were running. I think it was on BitChute only. They may still be there. And I would watch that sometimes because they did like a week in review show, like I do, a week in review. And I really liked a lot of their topics, a lot of their stories. I even used some of their stories, on my show. It's like, man, that's a good catch. I didn't see that. But I also liked some of the way they looked at things. However, I believe they're Christ deniers. They're more into kind of the New Age Christ, as far as unless they've changed, right? But Christ consciousness type stuff, but Christ deniers as our Savior, just no, right? So they're those types, unfortunately. And a lot of the stuff they put out, I think's just, I have a hard time believing. So again, we discern all these people. You discern all these subjects, all the topics, the people, because I can't vouch 1,000% for every, because I show so much stuff. I don't know all these people. I haven't researched a lot of these people. I like the clip for the subject. You know what I mean? That's it. So, yeah. But, there's even a video which really made me wonder about Stuart Swerdlow, but it's pretty a well-known video. It's been out there for a long time. If I find it again, I'll share it again on Saturday's shows. But it's him having a meeting with a gray, a humanoid, gray alien looking, but they're like taller than him. And they shake hands and they're having a conversation, and it's like an old grainy video. That one started making the rounds, and I was like, dude, I don't know, man. I don't like that, but so like I said, discern. Okay, so.
Now, is it accurate that up to 300,000 children went through the Montauk project, but only a handful survived, and you're one of the survivors?
Yes, this is a very sad story, unfortunately. Yes, it was about 300,000. Less than 1% survived. And in the beginning, they would take what they called expendable people, orphans, children of drug addicts or alcoholics, foster children, street people, people that they said would not be missed. And then as things progressed and they realized that it would be helpful to have certain type of genetics, then They went into the children of military people, authorities, elite, people that had a history of a certain ancestry and genetic combinations that were conducive to working in the mind control projects. And unfortunately, I came into that category because of my ancestry.
All right, so once again, you decide. You can go down that rabbit hole of Stuart Swerdlow. What on earth is it? Mysterious eyeless sea creature with razor-sharp teeth and a tail washes up on a Texas beach after Hurricane Harvey. Look at that, man. What in the crap? So just again, and this is in Texas. Nice. This thing. Actually, it seems like you get a better picture right here. Look at that. Look at those chompers on this thing. It's got a weird tail. So look, this thing has a tail. That's his tail, or her, or they or them. It's 2026, y'all. Come on. And it looks like that's the thick tail. Maybe there's some barnacles or something on it. But look at that big fat tail on it. And then look at the head. Look at that. What in the crap? But I was wanting to see if there's a close-up shot here of those chompers. There they are. Those, wow. Bizarre creature baffles onlookers, squirms on the ground. Throw something at it. Just started stinging people. Weird. All right, moving on. Bizarre dragon-like blue sea creatures are washing up on South African beach. This is from 2020. Look at this thing. I guess there's no videos, but look at these little guys or girls. I mean, beautiful. Whatever it is, but little dragons. Dragons are real. Dragons are totally real. They're in the Bible. They were real. Are. Ever since, remember, we had the X over America, and after that, people started seeing things that weren't UFOs exactly. They looked like dragons. Hey, here's one that was just, somebody said it's probably just, parts of the seabed kind of ripped up after a strong storm. I agree, you know what I mean? Most likely. So that's not why I was sharing this, but what a cool picture, isn't it? I think. Look at that. I actually need to save that then. Yeah, I need to save that. That's really cool, isn't it? It's like, looks like something out of a movie. It looks like a bunch of monsters coming to get them in the wave. But wow. And then you got this one. Yeah, it's definitely stuff from just, being all... You can see all the clumps of it in the background. But beautiful, man, isn't it? That'd be... Wow. It's like just beautiful. All right. Just wanted to share that. I guess you can call that our doom break. Mysterious Loch Ness type sea creature washes ashore on Georgia beach. Is this... See, they don't have a picture. Let's try here. I guess not. Okay. Somewhere I've got that. Huge mysterious sea creature washes up on beach, but nobody knows what it is. This is from September 2024. Another one. Weird, right? Not sure what it is. Decomposing Globster washes ashore in Malaysia. All right. April 6th, 2024. Mysterious massive sea creature washes up on beach. Oh, we saw that earlier. My bad. Mystery over animal's body on South Beach in Tenby. As you can see, that's not it. It's a cute little pup. But another looks like a, quote, Montauk, right? All right. We've already seen that one, too. But then there's this. And there's this one. Couple discovers what appears to be a globster on the Oregon coast 3 years ago. I guess that's one of the terms they're putting on these things. Globsters.
A bizarre object along the coast near Florence. You have to see it. It's large, at least the size of a van, with the appearance vaguely like a lumpy,
Looks
wet
like it's
mop,
got hair.
a dull gray color, a stringing appearance on its surface.
Firm but squishy, like you could tell it was the body of something. It was like the hair had grown evenly throughout the creature, and that's why it was weird.
It just didn't look anything like what I've ever seen. It looked more like stringy, and it almost looked like it might have been a large squid or something, but then I thought I saw a rib cage. So I turned around and raced back and came back and I told Dave, I said, I think I found a sea monster.
Well, Coin 6 watching out for you. We reached out to OSU biologists, and they had a pretty definitive answer.
It's a whale.
Marine mammal expert Jim Rice tells us it's a badly decomposed whale.
See, that's what they always say. Excuse me, all the time, but this is like the third or fourth creature we've seen washing up on a beach that has white hair all over it. And I'm just seriously not familiar with anything, unless y'all are, that has white hair. You know, sea creature with a bunch of white hair. Here we are. So this is the one about, looks like the little, because where this thing was found, they have, you know, most in America, I showed this during my show a while back. I did one of these live shows. It was called, oops. They took a photo of a dragon, but no one really noticed. And that one, I had shown that in a lot of places, most states actually, I think here in America, we all have our local legend of something, right? In a lake or out in the woods or whatever, you know, some kind of cryptid or creature. So there's a lot of that out here. All right. Anyway, this place has their own little lake monster, and then someone found something that looks like a little lake monster.
Step closer to solving the mystery of the sea creature found off of Georgia's southern coast last week. Locals in Darien, where it was spotted, say it could be a legendary sea creature called Alti.
First Coast News reporter Bethany Anderson is on your side tonight to find out what's going on here. I mean, is this really a hoax, or is it actually some kind of unidentified species?
The Altamahaha, or Alti, as the locals lovingly call this sea creature, has been spotted here in Darien since the early 1830s. That's when a sea captain says the creature wagged the side of the boat with his tail.
If you go on this water, you're going to see things that
You can't explain.
you can't explain.
Brothers George and
That's
Dwight
cool.
Gale have run shrimping boats in
Disturbing
Darien
thing, so
for
I don't know what it
decades.
could be.
They're not surprised another person has come forward claiming they've seen the town's legendary sea monster, Alti, named after the Altamaha River.
Over the years, it's just like the Loch Ness Monster. Long-time fishermen that's died, took it to their graves, swearing to God that they've seen Altamaha.
This original 1800s newspaper article describes Alti's first sighting as a 70-foot sea monster. Other accounts in the 1920s and 80s describe a large creature with no gills swimming on top of the water. We spoke with national cryptozoologist Lyle Blackburn.
In this particular case, there is some shape and detail. It doesn't even look really heavily decomposed.
Blackburn studies folklore, or undocumented creatures. He says the evidence, though, is surprising.
And the shape of that does very much resemble what people have described in the sightings of Alti.
Blackburn says there could be other explanations. So do Gale and Dwight, ranging from frilled sharks all the way to warped driftwood.
Warped driftwood. Womp, womp, womp. I thought she was going to say, oh, to a baby well, you know. But it totally looks like these description of these water dragons, if you will. Interesting. Very interesting. See, that would have been a good one to include in that live show. Okay. 8 bizarre creatures that have washed ashore. We've already seen most of these, actually, at this point. There's the oarfish. It was on a Daily Mail. Seen that one from Texas. Them chompers. Sea monster mystery spawned after bizarre-looking carcass washes ashore in New Zealand. So I want to share that too. They're all over. New Zealand. Oh yeah, we saw this one earlier. My bad. Looks prehistoric. Giant eyeball found on beach, posing mystery for marine biologists. Photo from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. shows a giant eyeball from a mysterious sea creature that washed ashore and was found by a man walking the beach in Pompano Beach, Florida on Wednesday. The eyeball will be sent to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Research Institute in St. Petersburg, Florida. And this is from way back in October 11th, 2012. So I guess they couldn't... I mean, of course, the idea that it could be like a giant squid. Oh, I guess they took that down. Something like that, right? Or a whale. Yeah, it's nice to say it's a whale. I don't know, but it's pretty interesting, isn't it? It's pretty beautiful. I mean, I always see it's like that's the Lord's creation, you know. Pretty awesome. Marine monster mystery on South Carolina beach. Get this one. Look at that. This is from March 2012. Bizarre creature washed ashore last week in South Carolina. Folly Beach. Let's see. Some people say it's a sturgeon. That's what people are saying. Some. But then, several sightings of gar out there have also been mistaken for monsters. Some believe Champ, the lake monster, is a gar, I guess. All right. We got it. So there's the picture we have of it. So I don't know. Look at those markings. It's pretty awesome. I don't know much about gar. Do y'all? If you do, is that how they're marked? It's really crazy looking. Is it a dragon? I don't know. I see these things. I wonder. Some of them, if they're sea dragons. Perhaps. Rock Nest monster. This is a nickname given to a globster found in Hollingworth Lake, Rockdale, England. So this is in England, and that totally looks like a dragon to me. Look at that. The back looks like a fish, which is weird. And the front looks like a dragon. Maybe it's a baby. I don't know. But doesn't that look like a dragon to you? I'm just saying. All right, so even in England, baby goat born with a human face in Malaysia. Just thought I'd throw this one in. Just for fun, I guess. Human goat hybrid. And that's that on those. Now I think we're moving into... We're almost there. Here's a couple more. Strange sea creature. This is from 12 years ago. Huge fish or a crocodile? You decide. As always. Oh, it's got like a lot of this. Instead, though, let's go ahead and go here. This footage is really cool, actually. Look at this thing. Pictures of it. Sea dragon. Massive. Look how big this freaking thing is. Crocodile. Look at that. It reminds me of all these movies, Godzilla movies. Totally looks like a dragon. Look at that. The back, all the ridges on it. The front, this weird flares. Those the horns? I don't know. Flares. Interesting. Big head. It's playing. It's just showing photos, it looks like, mostly. Or if that's a crocodile, that's the biggest one. I mean, that's like a legendary... Is that something on its back? Looks like there's something with a face on its back, doesn't it? See it right there? Looks like a baby seal to me. Like a baby seal on his back. Is that its hand? Is those fingers? See that here? I don't know if you see my cursor or not. That could be pareidolia, I admit, on that one. But look at compared to the people, I mean, that could open its mouth and swallow all those guys. It's crazy. So that's it. I guess there's no video, but that's pretty amazing. Again, that's from 12 years ago, y'all. So before AI, right? Before AI came around, it started confusing people all over the place. Here's another really weird one. Strange sea creature. Another one 15 years ago. Look at this. Oh. Whatever is this? What is that? I think it's a solid object. People are all around it. They're all looking. I first thought maybe it's just a big school of fish. I don't know. Now it's leaving. It's pretty weird. So it came in just for a little bit and then it just totally took off. Like got right up into the people. Look at this. Like I wonder what they saw. That's what we need to know. Did someone reach out and touch it? You know it's not a school of fish if someone reaches out and touches it. But look, it goes all the way up. I wouldn't think it'd be a school of fish. So don't they stay in a school for protection? I don't know. I'm not sure. So it just wouldn't seem like they'd be like, hey, there's a lot of noise and limbs flapping around. Let's go here. Well, let's surround ourselves with this. Chubbs, you made me cough. All right, there we go. We'll move on. That's a good one. Interesting one. I think. I told you there's different subjects, kind of meshing them all together. What is this mysterious creature washed up on a Welsh beach? We saw that earlier, the Welsh. And then what's this might be? What? Yeah, this is the Y-Files. They actually did a whole thing, The Horrors of Plum Island, 2 years ago. I don't know if he has chapters. He doesn't. I don't want to play all of his video either, but cool channel. They do some good, he does some good deep dives. He's good at gathering information. So let me see where they get into the hybridization stuff. Yeah, let's get into some of this right here. There we are.
Classical swine fevers as well as avian flu. Now, there's no question that since the 1950s, Plum Island has studied diseases that affect livestock. But Plum Island's true history is much darker. For years, stories circulated that Plum Island was conducting genetic experiments on animals and possibly on people. So when the bodies of strange animals began washing up on beaches around the Long Island Sound, it could mean only one thing. The rumors about Plum Island were true. The Manhattan Monster was found along the East River. Then another creature washed up. And this one kind of looked like a pig, but you don't see a lot of those running around New York City. Besides, pigs have 4 toes on each foot that ends in a hoof. The Manhattan Monster's feet had 5 toes that ended in what looked like claws.
Oh, did it have the body of a crab and the head of a cat?
No, it had
That would be a crab cat.
I know, but
See a crab cat?
Some thought it could be a huge rat. Now, I'm from New York, and I've seen some huge rats.
Oh, especially under the F train at West 4th Street, huh?
Huh? Oh, that's a crazy one. Look at that. The size of that monster. Wow. I mean, it looks like a little cat.
They get big down there, but not this big. Plus, rats have 4 toes on their back feet. Again, this thing had 5. Then another unrecognizable animal appeared. Then another, and another. Plum Island is supposed to be a medical research facility, originally under the purview of the Department of Agriculture. But Plum Island is actually part of Homeland Security. Why? In 2008, an Al-Qaeda operative named Aifa Siddiqui was captured. She was in possession of handwritten notes with possible sites for a mass casualty attack in the United States. One of the sites listed was Plum Island. Again, why? Well, Plum Island research wasn't always about curing diseases. When it opened, Plum Island was about creating them. In 1952, Plum Island was used to research anti-animal biological warfare. Specifically, it focused on weaponizing foot and mouth disease. To build Plum Island, the U.S. brought in the Nazis.
Why couldn't the Montauk Monster be some critter that they were tinkering with that somehow went into the water and got swept by that outgoing tide? Montauk is south and east of Plum Island, not that far, maybe 10 miles as the crow flies, maybe less even. Why couldn't it be that?
Reims Island, Germany is home to the oldest virological institution in the world. Army's biological...
All right, let me jump ahead some more. What else we got in here from this feller? Yeah, I like the Y-Files. They do a good job. All right, I guess I'll go ahead and move on, though. I don't want to be, like I said, playing a lot of his stuff. Here's a little stuff here. Play some of this.
Pork chops. Not USDA grade A, but USDA grade V for virus. Everyone, to a man, would deny it. But we did it.
Dirty water. And soon after this, there was an outbreak of Rift Valley fever on the island. Weaponized RVF was being tested by infecting mosquitoes. Some mosquitoes got out and bit the scientists. Now, luckily, they knew how to treat it. But if the...
Yeah, I'll go and move on. Just want to get a little bit in there from AJ. This is his name, right? Y-Files. Thanks, AJ. What is that? Beachgoer is left baffled by a washed-up stick she found on the shore, only to discover it's alive. Yeah, this is a weird one, too. Look at this thing. I do wonder, like I said, a lot of these are sea dragons or somehow mutated. Some of these. Look at that. It's a very strange-looking creature. Looks like a cross between a lizard and a seahorse, they said. There we go. Would you take it home? Okay, now we're getting into Plum Island some more. I believe this young lady is the one who claims that she worked at Plum Island and has been spilling the beans on some things. So let's check some of this out from her.
They did. They absolutely did. I am currently under the weather. I have a sore throat, runny nose, and both my ears are stopped up, so I'm not sure if I'm speaking too loud or too low. I can't gauge it right now. I did go ahead and private the other two Fruit Island videos because I'm not 100% up to health, so I can't monitor and watch my page to make sure that things are not getting out of hand. I have been doing a lot of research to dive deep into topics and stories that I am passionate about. I now know that the stories and the things that I dive into may just be a
Let me just check her channel out here and see what she's talking about a little more. Because I don't know. I don't know who she is. I don't know if she's cray. You don't know. But it looks like she's got a good following, a decent following over here for sure. I just want to see some of the Plum stuff. It looks like she gets into a lot of topics. So, she says UFO mothership arriving in November. Let's check this out.
Right, you can stop paying bills now and ghost your landlord because apparently there's a UFO mothership that's supposed to arrive in November. And no, I'm not talking about the African American alien. However, when I looked into it, I couldn't find any peer-reviewed articles or supporting documents, just headlines and videos making their rounds, especially on TikTok. I've noticed every so often stories like this pop up, almost like they're checking to see who pays attention, who asks questions, who just accepts it without looking deeper. That's what makes me think about those old theories where fake events could be staged to influence how people act. Some say it could be done with advanced tech, even holograms, to make us believe something big is happening. Not necessarily for war, but maybe for control. I'm talking about that.
I'll go move on. Thanks, lady. I'll check out some of her videos later. Maybe. Another Plum Island, mostly about the creatures. Plum Island mysteries connected to the Book of Giants, Enoch, and Jasher. Let's check this out.
What secrets does this island hold, and what connections does it have to these ancient books and their stories of genetic manipulations
Sling and Stone.
monsters? 2 miles off the coast of Long Island, New York is Plum Island. This is the site of the Plum Island Animal Disease Center. It was established by the United States Department of Agriculture in 1954, but access to the island is controlled by the United States Department of Homeland Security. The Plum Island Animal Disease Center says that their main focus is studying the diseases of foreign animals in livestock. But there's a long, strange history with the tests that's gone on this island, and with strange creatures washing up ashore on nearby coasts. It makes people wonder, what tests are they actually doing here? When the facility originally opened, it was a center for biological warfare testing by the United States Army. Their main focus was to weaponize foot and mouth disease, which is a highly contagious disease among animals that they could use against foreign enemies' livestock. To this very day, Plum Island still tests and works with foot and mouth disease, which is a highly contagious disease, so much to the point that any wild mammal that's seen on the island is killed on sight so it doesn't catch anything on the island and take it ashore to the United States mainland. When Plum Island was doing their biological warfare testing in the 1950s, they reached out to Eric Traub to come and help them with the weaponization of foot and connection between Plum Island and this Lyme disease outbreak in Lyme, Connecticut. But with Plum Island just being right across the bay, it's kind of hard to not tile. We can tell by the feet, the legs, and the face that this isn't any one of those creatures. It's something entirely of its own. Now, that instance would be strange enough if that was the only case, but then a year later, this creature washes up on shore. Once again, an unidentified creature with multiple features resembling different animals. It absolutely looks like some type of hybrid creature. I find it intriguing that we can see in the picture there's a fly on it. If this was some created prop or something that was made out of plastic, flies wouldn't be drawn to it. But as we know, of course, carcasses draw flies. In between these instances, another strange occurrence at Plum Island pops up. This article by the New York Post, body with very long fingers found on Plum Island near disease lab. Police say a security guard discovered the clothed body Thursday afternoon on the island. The Long Island autopsy report said that he was a black male about 6 feet tall with a large build and very long fingers.
That's creepy.
Then in 2012, another creature washes up on shore in Manhattan. This is dubbed the Manhattan Monster. Similar in appearance to the other creatures, it looks like a pig or a dog or something along these lines with a face that definitely doesn't resemble any of those. The New York Parks Department claims that it was a pig left over from a cookout, but I don't know anybody who cooks a pig at a cookout, buries it, and then doesn't eat it. On June 14th, 2023, another body washed up on shore on Plum Island. It didn't say that this body had any identifying strange factors about it, but still strange. Another body washing up on the shore of that island. The rumors of genetic manipulation going on Plum Island, and with the potential of these creatures being from Plum Island washing up on the mainline shore of the United States, makes me think of the fallen angel manipulation of genetics of humans and animals that took place in the old world, told to us through the book of Genesis and these other books such as the book of Giants, Enoch, and Jasher. We all know, of course, Genesis 6:4, where the fallen angels mated with the women of earth and created giants. But some of these other books mention the creation of monsters. The book of Giants says, they begot giants and monsters. They begot, and behold, all the earth was corrupted with its blood, and by the hand of giants which did not suffice for them, and they were seeking to devour many, the monsters attacked it. That's a fragmented section of the book of Giants. Another fragmented section mentions giants but doesn't say clearly what they're doing. Flesh, all monsters they would arise lacking in true knowledge because the earth grew corrupt. Mighty, they were considering from the angels upon, in the end it will perish and die. They caused great corruption in the earth. This did not suffice to, they will be. These fragmented sections from the Book of Giants set up the alluring possibility that fallen angels not only created giants with earth women, but created monsters with the animals of the earth. The Book of Enoch also confirms something along these lines. In Enoch 7:3-5 it says, "Who consumed all the acquisitions of men, and when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood." The sin mentioned in that passage by the fallen angels against the animals could very well be the same sin that they committed with the women that created the giants, and with the animals created monsters.
Good stuff. Yeah, Sling and Stone is his YouTube channel, so thanks for that, sir. Excellent report. I like the excerpts he was using. Former Plum Island employee reveals the truth. So here's the lady I had on TikTok earlier. I just didn't have the right clip from her, I believe. So let's see.
Yep, I might delete it later, but I used to work at Plum Island, Lab 257, Yep, that lab 257. They told us it was animal research, just livestock stuff. Studying diseases to protect the food supply. That's how they always frame it, make it sound like we're doing something good. But the things I saw in that lab, the experiments, it wasn't about animals. It wasn't ever just about animals. First red flag, most of the people I work with either didn't ask questions or knew not to. Those who did ask too much, let's just say they didn't stay around for too long. Contracts pulled, cleared out like they never existed. We get shipments in the middle of the night, no labels, no records. I'm talking live animals, sometimes already mutated. Sometimes they weren't even species that we have names for, and I know that sounds crazy, but I've seen things that look like they weren't even from this planet. Hybrid creatures like something out of a movie. We weren't just testing viruses, we were engineering them. Modifying bacteria, adding genetic sequences that shouldn't even be compatible with human DNA. At one point, I was assigned to a project that involved ticks. Yep. Those ticks. We were told it was a controlled study to understand how disease spreads, but what we really were doing was testing how to make the virus spread easier, more contagious, more invisible. A few months later, the first Lyme disease cases popped up across the water in Connecticut just out of nowhere. Coincidence? Sure. Paranoid, but not empowered. That's how they keep you quiet. I shouldn't be saying any of this. I've already seen 2 people disappear after talking too much. Plum Island wasn't just some animal lab. It was a test site, a lab rat farm. And the real test subject? They never stayed on that island, said an alleged whistleblower of Plum Island. If stories like this interest you, be sure to give me a follow.
So I don't know. You decide. Is she telling the truth or not?
We have an interesting video coming out of Long Island, New York. This was captured around June 7th.
Saw that little guy earlier.
Almost immediately, online conspiracy theories began to circulate that this creature was actually from Plum Island, which is the center of a disease research facility maintained by the United States government.
A 1971 New York Times article described the facility as a devil's island for the deadliest animal disease germs known to man, and a debunked conspiracy theory claimed it was the source of Lyme disease. Adding to the mystery, the rotten corpse disappeared before it could be analyzed.
Well, of course people are going to connect the dots. This thing has to be from that thing because I don't know what this is and I don't know what that is, therefore they're probably related.
During the Cold War, Plum Island was the site of a secret biological weapons program to rules out a canine like a pit bull.
The characteristics that I see here, including the teeth, as well as the body structure, and in particular the small front paws that seem to have very thin, flexible fingers, this is relatively easy to identify as a raccoon.
I don't know.
That's a raccoon?
All right, we'll go and move on. It's always hard to accept the experts, you know, especially
May
these
2012, 24-year-old Amy Copeland and a few friends were ziplining near the Tallapoosa River in Georgia. During one of Amy's runs, she heard a snap. The zip line broke and she fell into the creek below. She landed on sharp rocks and cut her leg pretty badly. She went through routine surgery, but over the next 2 days developed a fever and severe pain. Amy was infected with Aeromonas hydrophila, a rare type of flesh-eating bacteria. This bacteria moves faster than antibiotics can work, so the only way to remove it is to remove the limbs it infects, so you have to move fast. Amy survived, but lost both hands, both feet, and her entire left leg. But suddenly, more cases of this rare disease were popping up. Georgia, South Carolina, northern Florida. When looking at these cases on a map, people started asking, how secure is the CDC building in Atlanta? Well, not as secure as you'd hope. In June of 2012, just weeks after Amy Copeland's accident, it was reported that the CDC building in Atlanta had an airflow problem.
Did you just say they use duct tape to keep in deadly viruses?
Yep, and this goes on and on. It does coincide with research into weaponizing ticks.
All right, I'll go and move on. I think we got it. I don't want to keep repeating some of the same stuff over and over. Oops.
Hey, you're calling me microbiologist here to answer a question someone asked me, which was, what was my most favorite job and or time being a scientist? And I have to say there are 2. Well, I'll talk about one right now. I'll talk about another one in another video. And this was when I worked for the government. I was a molecular microbiologist, and I worked in a biosafety level 3 laboratory developing foreign animal disease diagnostic tests. That's a lot of words. And basically what we were developing those tests for was for bioagritourism. Bioagritourism is a very real threat in the U.S. We have very open croplands. We have very open livestock, cattle, poultry houses and things like that. So we were studying the diseases to come up with vaccines, antidotes, and things like that. So in that period of time, I did some training at a place called Plum Island Animal Disease Center, which about 20 years ago this was, so I'll get to that in a minute. So it was an island. We had to take a ferry to go to it off of New York. I think it's off of Orient Island. And the entire facility was a biosafety level 3. And what that means was that we had to have either PAPRs or we had N95s that we had to wear. It was a shower in, shower out facility.
Whoa.
We had to shower in pairs. We couldn't bring our clothes in, so we had to wear clothes that were we showered in, that were already in there, and then likewise coming back out, we had to leave those clothes, shower out, wash our eyes, spit, brush our teeth, blow our nose, and then put our clothes back on to get on the ferry to go back to our hotel. At the time, I didn't work up there full time. I was doing some training up there. And so there were a lot of really interesting and in somewhat sad experiments as well. It's a long time ago. It's one of the reasons I'm actually now in biotechnology and no longer the pharmaceutical clinical side of it. It was just a bit much, but needless to say, it was a very interesting place, and they did have armed guards on the outside of the perimeter. I got to go outside once. Had to have blood taken before my training.
All right, we're going to move on. She's just about done. Thanks, lady. Sounds like an interesting experience. This is a really crazy one. Mystery surrounds Nessie-type creature washed up on Irvingshire Beach during Storm Sierra, February 2020. Like I said, man, to me, a lot of these resemble dragons, especially with those big, looks like 2 horns sticking out right there. I'm not saying they are for sure, but they look like it. Let's see what they're saying. Yeah, this guy, Eddie Thompson, was pretty adamant it was a mythical creature from the Highlands, adding Highland dragon, obviously. Let me see what the official answer was. Most likely suggestions of the identity of the mysterious North Sea creature were also put forward, with folks saying it was a whale or a dolphin. Yeah. All right. I don't feel like that's a whale or a dolphin. I just think people have a hard time believing their eyes. Mysterious baby Loch Ness monster. We saw... No, this is another one. This was in 2022. It does look like a little baby Loch Ness monster. Another one of these weird sea beasts, sea creatures. So then we'll end with a little bit on this. Just again, we already saw that earlier, but I wanted to make sure we had mentioned the Book of Enoch at least during the show tonight. Joe Rogan read the Book of Enoch after his discussion with Representative Luna, and check some of this out, what he discovered.
Guess too, and she was telling me some stuff that was just like mind blowing, and she really got me to read the Book of Enoch. She's like, you got to read that.
So you have the Ethiopian Orthodox text, which has, I think, 88 books of the Bible in total. But in the Ethiopian Orthodox text, it's basically kind of like a mainline OG version of the Bible. And then sometime in the 4th century, there was actually a group that came together and they removed certain books. And the story goes that Revelations actually had replaced Enoch. And so it's interesting because when you're looking kind of full circle on, you hear the stuff that some of these people are talking about, and then you see and you read the Book of Enoch, which is a wild read, okay? And then you look at kind of what our modern day description is of what angels and entities are versus what Enoch was seeing and reporting in his language and ability at that time. I think that there's a lot that brings you to then ask the question, well, why would they remove this information? If it's truly, written in part of the oldest Bible in the world, why would they then take it out?
And that could have easily been attached to the religious canon, but some rabbis disagreed with it because it didn't vibe with the Torah. So, let's chuck that one out. But it's in the same lump of Dead Sea Scrolls.
and then he turns into Metatron, this angel. And a lot of people think that's part of kind of a celestial ascent tradition. So you have celestial ascent traditions and various traditions, and the wheels of Ezekiel. Or, some people think in the book of Acts, Jesus does this. Or Paul has the thorn in the flesh where he sees God. And so maybe there's something around ascending up into this state and coming back down. And there's a translation function where it's hard to say, once you've ascended, it's hard to say what you've seen. Like in the Murescu immortality key, where there's like a fight club around it or something.
This is the fight club of the ancient world. Whatever happened there, no one talked about it under penalty of death. I mean, people went to Eleusis as human beings, and from what little testimony survived, again, because it's secret, under penalty of death, they walked away thinking they were immortal.
All right, I'll go ahead and move on from that. Interesting clip. Joe Rogan. And then lastly, there are plenty of depictions of half man, half beasts in ancient works. The Bible, ancient Egypt, of course, too. The Bible tells us that the offspring of the fallen hybridized humans and animals, and that because of this abomination, they had to be erased. Some depictions show this hybrid cynocephalus, highly regarded. So yeah, we already know. And that's it, man. That's it, man. 2 hours. I think we did pretty good. Still got a great crowd of people live. Thanks for being over 500 people now, man. Thank you so much. Thanks, Tamara, of course. And just thank you all for hanging out, man. I feel good. I covered everything I wanted to. Wanted to mesh all these together. And, some of these sources, like I said, you decide. I have to still think about these after the show, and sometimes I'll go and start looking deeper into some of the people I shared during the shows, not just this one, but other ones. And it's trying to find more of their work, find out what's going on, things like that. So I do some research on these people, but typically it's after. So I watch a lot of these right along with you. And as you know, we use our logic, reason, common sense, critical thinking, and spiritual discernment, right, with all things. So let me move on over here and jump over here to the chat with y'all for a moment. Some moments. I'll throw this up here. So far, so good. Haven't heard any tornadoes swinging by my area, so thanks for your prayers. Excuse me, much appreciated. Thanks again for your messages today. Sorry, like I said, if I missed any of them. Sometimes I do when I'm reading a whole lot. But thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you, Wobblin' Bob, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Good to have you here, too. Hope you're well. Good to see you guys. I'm over here. Sandy Hoofman, Chinese Chicken. I love that name. Share Bear, Red Dark Side, Angelique, Zetro, No Impossible, Escobar, Gatti. What a name. Like that one too. Desert Trance. Good to see you, man. Jonathan Hamilton, Swagger's here. David Romero. Thanks, man. Good to see you. Ben Blanco, CJ Live, Rachel Queen. Sorry if I missed any names, just kind of passing through here. All right, so yeah, once again, man, coming up next, tomorrow, right here on this YouTube channel, 2 p.m. Central Standard, we're doing KJ's What Happened Live. Plenty to share, man, as you know. Even the Burger Wars, that's one of the situations that developed this week. New video in the works, almost done. Might be earlier this week. A lot of times I'll put them up on a Thursday or a Friday, so I'm not sure. Next Friday on YouTube right here on this channel, we're going to do a call-in. So if you ever wanted to call in, man, now's your chance. I hope you do. Don't be scared. It's always good to talk to y'all, always. So, but I'm always, always wanting you guys to not be too scared. If you ever wanted to do it, call in, please do. It's always good to chat, even with folks who call in, just all of you. It's good to connect. But I always want the new people to jump in and not be afraid. And, I want to hear your questions or your thoughts, your testimonies, whatever it is, stories. Love hearing stories. I'm all over the place in a good way with things. I'm into a lot of different subjects. We can talk about whatever, so please do, okay? And also, let me say a prayer, too, real quick before I forget, before we go. Heavenly Father, thank you so very much for this wonderful family community we have here online all around. So thank you for all of them. And also, Lord, I pray that you help all of us as brothers and sisters in Christ to love each other even more, and also to the rest of the world, to really love each other more, draw them in the best way possible, just through being real and true and warm. The world needs it. Thank you. Also, help us to be not just a light, but any kind of warrior, any kind of work or mission you have for us. I pray you would give us the wisdom and discernment to understand when you're speaking to us, and help us to follow through with that. And just want to thank you for all things, because all good things come from you. And I also pray we're all found worthy to escape the horrors that are coming upon this earth, as we're told to do. So thank you, Father. We love you. And in Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right. Thank you guys for letting me do that real quick like. Thanks again, you guys. Coulter, nice to see you, man. Snowball, John Bourgoin, if I said that right, nice to see you. Rachel Rosendo, Christopher Allen, John Murph. Good to see you guys. All right, y'all. Thanks again, Tamara. Thanks to Cerna. You too, Josh. Thanks again for the members here, man. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. And yeah, just for the support in general. Big shout out to my Subscribestar crew. Please follow there for all things. I post a lot of things there that I don't put on YouTube. Anything that's not on YouTube, everything goes over there. So please follow on Subscribestar. And that's it. All right. I love you guys in Christ. Thanks again for hanging out for this fun subject. Wanted to get into some of this tonight, so I appreciate y'all being here with me. And I'll see you tomorrow on the show. I look forward to it, okay? So take care and have a good night. See you then.